Henan is a province of the People's Republic of China, located in the central part of the country. Its one-character abbreviation is named after Yuzhou, a Han Dynasty state that included parts of Henan. Although the name of the province means south of the river, approximately a quarter of the province lies north of the Yellow River, also known as the Huanghe. Henan is often referred to as Zhongyuan or Zhongzhou, which literally means central plain land or midland, although the name is also applied to the entirety of China proper. Henan is the birthplace of Chinese civilization with over 3,000 years of recorded history, and remained China's cultural, economical, and political center until approximately 1,000 years ago. Numerous heritages have been left behind, including the ruins of Shang Dynasty capital city Yin and the Shaolin Temple. 4 of the 8 great ancient capitals of China, Luoyang, Anyang, Kaifeng, and Zhengzhou, are located in Henan. With an area of 167,000 square kilometers, Henan covers a large part of the fertile and densely populated North China plain. Its neighboring provinces are Shaanxi, Shanxi, Hebei, Shandong, Anhui, and Hubei. Henan is China's third most populous province with a population of over 94 million. If it were a country by itself, Henan would be the 12th most populous country in the world, behind Mexico and ahead of Vietnam. Henan is the 5th largest provincial economy of China and the largest among inland provinces. However, per capita GDP is low compared to other eastern and central provinces, and Henan is considered to be one of the less developed areas in China. The economy continues to depend on its dwindling aluminum and coal reserves, as well as agriculture, heavy industry, tourism, and retail. High-tech industry and service sector is underdeveloped and is concentrated around Zhengzhou and Luoyang. History. Widely regarded as the cradle of Chinese civilization along with Shanxi and Shaanxi provinces, Henan is known for its historical prosperity and periodic downturns. The economic prosperity resulted from its extensive fertile plains and its location at the heart of the country. However, its strategic location also means that it has suffered from nearly all of the major wars in China. In addition, the numerous floods of the Yellow River have caused significant damage from time to time. Kaifeng, in particular, has been buried by the Yellow River's silt 7 times due to flooding. Ancient-era archaeological sites reveal that prehistoric cultures such as the Yangshao culture and Longshan culture were active in what is now northern Henan since the Neolithic era. The more recent Erlitou culture has been controversially identified with the Qia dynasty, the first and largely legendary Chinese dynasty that was established roughly in the 21st century BC. Virtually the entire kingdom existed within what is now north and central Henan. The Qia dynasty collapsed around the 16th century BC following the invasion of Shang. A neighboring vassal state centered around today's Shangqiu in eastern Henan. The Shang dynasty was the first literate dynasty of China. Its many capitals are located at the modern cities of Shangqiu, Yanshi, and Zhengzhou. Their last and most important capital, Yin, located in modern Anyang, is where the first Chinese writing was created. In the 11th century BC, the Zhou dynasty of Shaanxi arrived from the west and overthrew the Shang dynasty. The capital was moved to Chang'an, and the political and economical center was moved away from Henan for the first time. In 722 BC, when Chang'an was devastated by Xianites' invasions, the capital was moved back east to Luoyang. This began the spring and autumn period, a period of warfare and rivalry. What is now Henan and all of China was divided into a variety of small, independent states, constantly at war for control of the central plain. Although regarded formally as the ruler of China, the control that Zhou king in Luoyang exerted over the feudal kingdoms had virtually disappeared. Despite the prolonged period of instability, Prominent philosophers such as Confucius emerged in this era and offered their ideas on how a state should be run. Laozhi, the founder of Taoism, was born in northern Chu, part of modern-day Henan. Later on, these states were replaced by 7 large and powerful states during the Warring States period, and Henan was divided into 3 states: the Wei to the north, the Chu to the south, and the Han in the middle. In 221 BC, state of Qin forces from Shaanxi conquered all of the other 6 states, ending 800 years of warfare. Imperial era Yingzheng, the leader of Qin, crowned himself as the first emperor. He abolished the feudal system and centralized all powers, establishing the Qin dynasty and unified the core of the Han Chinese homeland for the first time. The empire quickly collapsed after the death of Yingzheng and was replaced by the Han Dynasty in 206 BC, with its capital at Chang'an. Thus began a golden age of Chinese culture, economy, and military power. The capital moved east to Luoyang in 25 AD, in response to a coup in Chang'an that created the short-lived Qin dynasty. Luoyang quickly regained control of China, and the Eastern Han Dynasty began, extending the Golden Age for another 2 centuries. The late Eastern Han Dynasty saw war and rivalry between regional warlords. Zhushang in central Henan was the power base of Cao Cao, who eventually succeeded in unifying all of northern China under the Kingdom of Wei. Wei then moved its capital to Luoyang, which remained the capital after the unification of China by the Western Jin dynasty. During this period, Luoyang became one of the largest and most prosperous cities in the world, despite being repeatedly damaged by warfare. With the fall of the Western Jin dynasty in the 4th and 5th centuries, nomadic peoples from the north invaded northern China and established many successive regimes in northern China, including Henan. These people were gradually assimilated into the Chinese culture in a process known as Sinification. The short-lived Sui dynasty reunified China again in 589 with its capital back in Chang'an. It collapsed due to Sui Emperor Yang's costly attempt to relocate the capital from Chang'an to Luoyang and the construction of many extravagant palaces there. The succeeding Tang dynasty kept its capital in Chang'an, marking the beginning of China's second golden age, with Henan being one of the wealthiest places in the empire. The Tang dynasty lasted for 3 centuries before it eventually succumbed to internal strife. In the period of 5 dynasties and 10 kingdoms that followed, Kaifeng in eastern Henan became the capital of 4 dynasties. The Song dynasty that reunified China in 982 also had its capital at Kaifeng. Under Song rule, China entered another era of culture and prosperity, and Kaifeng overtook Luoyang and Chang'an as the largest city in China and in the world. In 1127, however, the Song dynasty succumbed to Jurchen invaders from the north in the Jin-Song War, and in 1142 ceded all of northern China, including Henan. The Song government moved its capital to Hangzhou in southern China, which, under the Southern Song dynasty, continued to enjoy relative economic and cultural prosperity. A prolonged period of peace and cultural and economic prosperity in the Yangtze River Delta Jiangyan region made this the new center of Chinese culture and economy. Kaifeng served as the Jurchen's southern capital from 1157 and was reconstructed during this time, but the Jurchen kept their main capital further north, until 1214, when they were forced to move the imperial court southwards to Kaifeng in order to flee the Mongol onslaught. In 1234 they succumbed to combined Mongol and Song dynasty forces. Mongols took control, and in 1279 they conquered all of China, establishing the Yuan dynasty and set up the equivalent of modern Henan province, with borders very similar to the modern ones. Neither its territories nor its role in the economy changed under later dynasties. Henan remained important in the Ming dynasty and Qing dynasty that followed, though its economy slowly deteriorated due to frequent natural disasters. Modern era. The Qing dynasty was overthrown by the Republic of China in 1911, marking the beginning of China's modern era. The construction and extension of the Pinggan Railway and Longhair Railway had turned Zhengzhou, a minor county town at the time, into a major transportation hub. Despite the rise of Zhengzhou, Henan's overall economy repeatedly stumbled as it was the hardest hit by the many disasters that struck China in its modern era. Henan suffered greatly during the Second Sino-Japanese War. In 1938, when the Imperial Japanese Army captured Kaifeng, the government led by Chiang Kai-shek bombed the Huayuankou Dam in Zhengzhou in order to prevent the Japanese forces from advancing further. However, this caused massive flooding in Henan, Anhui, and Jiangsu, resulting in hundreds of thousands of deaths. In 1942, Henan was hit by a great famine resulting from a mix of drought, locusts and destruction caused by the war. Grain requisition policies were continued by Chinese and Japanese authorities despite the shortage of food, making the death toll far greater than it might have been otherwise. In 1954, the new government of the People's Republic of China moved the capital of Henan from Kaifeng to Zhengzhou, as a result of its economic importance. The PRC had earlier established a short-lived Pingyuan province consisting of what is now northern Henan and western Shandong with Xinjiang as its capital. This province was abolished in 1952. In 1958, Jiashan in Suiping County, Henan, became the first People's Commune of China, heralding the beginning of the Great Leap Forward. In the subsequent famines of the early 1960s, popularly attributed to the Great Leap Forward, Henan was one of the hardest hit and millions of lives were lost. A destructive flooding of the Huai River in the summer of 1950 prompted large-scale construction of dams on its tributaries in central and southern Henan. Unfortunately, many of the dams were not able to withstand the extraordinarily high levels of rainfall caused by Typhoon Nina in August 1975. 62 dams, the largest of which was the Banqiao Dam in Bian County, collapsed. Catastrophic flooding spread over several counties throughout Zhoumadian Prefecture and further downstream, killed at least 26,000 people. Unofficial human life loss estimates, including deaths from the ensuing epidemics and famine, range as high as 85,600, 171,000 or even 230,000. This is considered the most deadly dam-related disaster in human history. By the early 1970s, China was one of the poorest countries in the world, and Henan was one of the poorest provinces in China. In 1978, however, when the communist leader Deng Xiaoping initiated the open-door policy and embraced capitalism, China entered an economic boom that continues today. The boom did not reach inland provinces such as Henan initially, but by the 1990s Henan's economy was expanding at an even faster rate than that of China overall. Henan has still not, however, entirely shed its reputation as an economic backwater. In recent years, the prevalence of selling blood among poor villagers has put Henan in the national spotlight. It was exposed that AIDS villages, where most of the population is HIV positive, exist in Henan. In many rural areas of China during the 1990s, particularly in the province of Henan, tens to hundreds of thousands of farmers and peasants were infected with HIV through participation in state-run blood collection programs in which contaminated equipment was reused. The initial cover-up of the crisis by local officials, followed by the national exposure, has put Henan in a somewhat negative spotlight. In November 2004, martial law was declared in Zhongmo County, Henan, to quell deadly ethnic clashes between Han Chinese and the Muslim Hui Chinese. The reported number of deaths ranged between 7 and 148. Geography. Henan has a diverse landscape with floodplains in the east and mountains in the west. Much of the province forms part of the densely populated North China Plain, an area known as the breadbasket of China. The Taihang Mountains intrude partially into Henan's northwestern borders from Shanxi, forming the eastern edge of Lowest Plateau. To the west, the Zhou and Fenyu Mountains form an extensive network of mountain ranges and plateaus, supporting one of the few remaining temperate deciduous forests which once covered all of Henan. The renowned Mount Song and its Shaolin Temple is located in the far east of the region, near the capital city Zhengzhou. To the far south, the Dabi Mountains divides Hubei from Henan. The Nanyang Basin, separated from North China Plain by these mountains, is another important agricultural and population center, with culture and history distinct from the rest of Henan and closer to that of Hubei's. Unlike the rest of northern China, desertification is not a problem in Henan, though sandstorms are common in cities near the Yellow River due to the large amount of sand present in the river. The Yellow River passes through central Henan. It enters from the northwest, via the Sanmenxia Reservoir. After it passes Luoyang, the mountains gave way to plains. Excessive amount of sediments are formed due to the silt it picks up from the lowest plateau, raising the riverbed, and causing frequent floods which shape the habitat of the region. More recently, however, construction of dams and levees, as well as the depletion of water resources, have ended the floods. The Huai River in southern Henan is another important river, and has been recognized as part of the boundary dividing northern and southern Chinese climate and culture. Henan shares borders with 6 other provinces. It is bordered to the west by Shaanxi, to the south by Hubei, and to the north by Shanxi and Hebei. To the east lie Shandong and Anhui, whose borders meet at a narrow strip of land which separates Henan from Jiangsu to the east. Climate: Henan has a temperate climate that is humid subtropical to the south of the Yellow River, and bordering on humid continental to the north. It has a distinct seasonal climate characterized by hot, humid summers due to the East Asian monsoon, and generally cool to cold, windy, dry winters that reflect the influence of the vast Siberian anticyclone. Temperatures average around the freezing mark in January and 27 to 28 degrees Celsius in July. A great majority of the annual rainfall occurs during the summer. Administrative divisions: Henan is divided into 17 prefecture-level divisions. All prefecture-level cities, along with one directly administered county-level city. The 17 prefecture-level divisions and one directly administered county-level city of Henan are subdivided into 158 county-level divisions. Those are in turn divided into 2,440 township-level divisions. Demographics: with a population of approximately 93.6 million, Henan is the third most populous Chinese province after Guangdong and Shandong. It is also the 5th most populous subnational division in the world. If it were a country by itself, it would be the 12th most populous in the world, just behind Mexico and ahead of the Philippines. However, the Hukou system shows Henan as the most populous province in China with over 103 million people, as it counts the migrant Henanese laborers as residents of Henan, instead of the province they currently reside in. On the other hand, Guangdong is shown as having only 81 million people, though the actual population is 95 million due to the influx of migrants from other provinces. The population is highly homogeneous, with 98.8% of the population being Han. Small populations of Mongols and Manchus exist in scattered rural communities as well as major urban centers. Along with Jiangxi, Henan has one of the most unbalanced gender ratios in China. As a result of the Chinese government's one-child policy, the gender ratio was 118.46 males for 100 females in 2000. Subsequently, aborting fetuses due to their female sex was banned in Henan, and heavy fines are issued for those who violate the law. In addition, daughter-only families receive an annual allowance from the government. Despite these efforts, the problem seems to have become far worse. Based on a 2009 British Medical Journal study, The ratio is over 140 boys for every 100 girls in the 1 to 4 age group. This might be a strong exaggeration, as many families with more than one child do not register their daughters to the hukou in order to escape fines. Religions. According to a 2012 survey, only around 13% of the population of Henan belongs to organized religions, the largest groups being Buddhists with 6.4%, followed by Protestants with 5.6%, Muslims with 1.3% and Catholics with 0.5%. Henan has some important centers of Chinese Buddhism, the White Horse Temple and the famous Shaolin Monastery. Henan has also the largest Christian population by numbers and percentage of any province of China, 6.1% of the province's population as of 2012, corresponding to approximately 7 million Christians, despite a significant decline from 9.33% as of 2009. The reports didn't give figures for other types of religion. 86% of the population may be either irreligious or involved in worship of nature, deities, Confucianism, Taoism and folk religious sects. According to a 2007 survey, approximately 8% of the Henanese believes in is involved in cults of ancestors. The traditional Chinese religion of the lineage is organized into lineage churches and ancestral shrines. Politics. The government of Henan is structured in a dual-party government system like all other governing institutions in mainland China. The governor of Henan is the highest-ranking official in the People's Government of Henan. However, in the province's dual-party government governing system, the governor has less power than the Henan Communist Party of China Provincial Committee Secretary, colloquially termed the Henan CPC party chief.